Even if you haven't seen the Universal monster film The Wolfman, you've probably heard of it. The plot is pretty simple, as it involves a man having a scuffle with a werewolf and being bitten by it, and then dealing with the frightening idea of his own possible transformation. Is he the monster that everyone is hunting? His body changing into some unhinged beast? Or is he going mad? In both cases, he could be responsible for the murders, so neither prospect seems great. If this general concept seems familiar to anyone who knows anything about werewolves, it's because this is the movie that basically popularized the idea. The basic premise and themes are what you'd typically find in most werewolf movies. For this video request, it was only my second time watching the movie, and I still have to say that, while I appreciate it, I don't really love it. There are some nice aspects, such as the use of shadowy landscapes with fog just about everywhere, creating that unique look of the classic Universal monster. The makeup for the Wolfman himself is pretty good as well. Although it's simple, it's effective. I liked most the little detail of how his paws are uplifted slightly as he walks, suggesting that his transformation could continue into a more wolf-like form. There are also some classic ideas here about good and evil and the balance of superstition and science in there as well. I think my biggest issue with the film is that Lon Chaney Jr.'s Larry doesn't come off as the most likable at first. He uses his father's telescope to spy on Gwen, the sort of but not really love interest of the movie, then proceeds to try and procure a date with her by being overly forward and kinda creepy. I appreciate the movie is self-aware of this, as she has a friend with her to be there when he insists upon meeting her. This was a smart move, although not for her friend because she's killed by the first werewolf when they visit the gypsies. So, no good deed goes unpunished, I guess. I did like the little detail as well of the werewolf being able to see the future victim with a mark that is only visible to them. It creates another moral dilemma of sorts as they can try to warn the victim, although the fate may still be difficult to alter. I will say that Larry does become more likable as the story progresses, really coming off as a simple but fairly well-meaning everyman who is just kind of out of his depth. I do think this comes a bit too late though, with the Wolfman never striking a strong enough chord of sympathy as, say, Frankenstein's monster, but also nowhere near being as threatening as Dracula or even the Mummy. Its influence is hard to ignore, and it does have some very nice locations, sets, and cinematography with great performances overall. My favorite was actually Claude Rains as Larry's father, who ultimately has perhaps the most tragic fate of the film, killing his own son. Throughout the movie, there's kind of this underlying idea in there about their bond having been weakened by his time away, with neither man fully understanding the other. The father lost one son at the beginning of the film, which prompted Larry to come back and visit him at their estate, but he ends up losing two sons by the end of the story. Though in a way Larry prompting his father to keep the silver cane proved that perhaps there is a way to save the victim, the werewolf himself can still not be saved by the curse. So yeah, it's pretty good. I might have to take a crack at my own werewolf movie someday.